Hello, everybody. So this is Sports Goofs number 216. I'm Francisco, joined by my good buddy Charles here. And Charles, I think this is an epic intro here because I had us speaking as the opening theme to the Star Fox theme was going on back there, right?
That's appropriate.
Yes, going appropriate. It's pretty epic soundtrack, and it's the new version, the one that we are going to talk about pretty much from the get-go here. That's what I wanted to talk about first or anything else because it's a sports show, everybody, but not really anymore. Not really.
We're kind of an everything show.
Yeah. We're doing a bi-weekly schedule because we're progressive like that. So I think we are just trying to fill our time here and then just trying to think of certain things that are on our mind, and it kind of groups up a bunch of news topics and things that we've been doing then, so we can always just have something to bounce off of. So, but big thing that came out, Charles, and I'm just gonna once again relay to everybody, this is the year of the Charles, the Return of the King, as we're calling it now.
Like
yeah, so I'm gonna put up here on the screen, I had the intro to this being the intro to Star Fox 64, but I'm gonna put up here a certain Nintendo Direct that just came out, and we're about to talk about that. So that was last week, right? That was last week. Yeah, it's been 8 days ago now.
It was after we had done the show, and thankfully it's like no live reaction.
Yeah. Lots of people have done their live reactions, and obviously this has been a big...
I would tell you now, there would be a lot more moaning and cursing on my end, but pleasurable moaning and cursing.
And the fun thing was, because this is the middle of a work day, and Nintendo just straight up just drops the news like, hey, Star Fox Direct is about to happen. And then they had a key image of Fox and Falco and Peppy and Slippy in their new look. And suddenly, like, you sent something to the group chat right away in all caps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm chronically all, as it all is. But I think my reaction was, Francisco!
Yeah.
Because you knew it was coming. Because you get him as a character out of nowhere in the movie. The only good part of the movie, the only great part of the movie. That's the way I'll say it, right? The only great part of the movie. And then I'm like, well, what are we gonna do? And of course, it's a remake. I'll let you drone on that for a bit, and then I'll chime in. But
I have my opinions.
Yeah, better than nothing. You know, it kind of feels like the Lonely Island doesn't matter how it sex kind of vibe. Doesn't matter how it's Star Fox. If you want to title that as the next episode or our new,
I titled this one the coolest guy I've ever seen. So.
Yeah, he is the coolest guy I've ever seen. God bless the Lumas. What a perfect like addition, or just a tribe that you feel like in your heart of hearts of Nintendo mascots would follow him.
It's funny how natural he felt in the Mario universe, like scarily so, where it's like if you legitimately put him in the Mario universe the way Donkey Kong is in all of that, then Fox might be some people's favorite characters if he had been consistently in Mario games, like from like the Mario sports games, you put him in Mario Tennis and Mario Golf and Mario Party. I think he would be, because he's very popular in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, everybody loves him and Falco. And, you know, and
Wolf.
He's the easier, Wolf as well. He's the easier one to kind of cross blend into other stuff too, because mechanically speaking, since he's traveling the galaxies, there's no reason why he can't see also Captain Falcon at some point.
Yeah, and Samus.
That's just an
Kirby.
And Samus. It's dimensional God who likes to take a nap, right? That's always the running joke. But it's just also he has the cool factor. Mario does not have the cool factor. You know, Donkey Kong, depending on the iteration, does not have the fullest cool factor. Granted, Bonanza Kong has the cool factor. Plus, we're all Funky Kong and Diddy Kong boys, so they have the cool factor. You know, going from there. But I digress.
So the Direct came out. You saw it first before me. I was busy with work before I actually got to sit down and see it, but. Interesting take on it. Obviously, this is a full-on remake of Star Fox 64, but I'm hoping, Charles, that this isn't a one-to-one remake of Star Fox 64. And I'm going to compare this to the Final Fantasy VII remake right now, because people who've played that have realized that is not a one-to-one remake of that story. There are some differences that they've taken some liberties on, maybe a different iteration of the base story, which is an interesting way to look at it. And already from the first clip of Star Fox for Switch. Star Fox 2026. We'll just call it that.
So weird to say that, right?
Yeah.
Star Fox or Switch.
Uh,
It feels right.
Yeah.
Tingle my dingle on that.
So Star Fox is for Switch. So we're already seeing some differences. Like they show the opening of them entering Carnaria, and the lines are not 1-to-1. They're completely different from what they said in the 64 version. And 64 got remade on a 3DS, and it was just a 1-to-1 remake. They just made the graphics better, and obviously it was in 3D for the 3DS. And then people say Star Fox Zero was a remake, but you are the only one of us that has played Star Fox Zero, and which is probably gonna also color your opinion about this, but Star Fox Zero was not a 1-to-1 remake of Star Fox 64 either.
I like to think it was a reimagining.
Yeah, or reboots, or maybe an attempted reboot, maybe.
Anytime you have new gameplay to add on, because they had a little gyroscope, some other stuff that was in there, and the little walker, it was a Platinum Games take on Star Fox that I didn't hate. It was something missing, I guess is the best way I'll say it.
Okay.
But it was fine. I remember I got that like day one using, because I've been Charleston since way beyond the point, but we were still in law school. Remember when LexisNexis would have us get rewards for
oh yeah if you kept using them,
the use of it,
yeah,
and I would do that. So I would just do that for all my Nintendo games, because Nintendo games,
they had like Amazon gift cards.
Yep, and that's how I used it. And I don't even think I traded in because I knew I was gonna get so much from it, because you got a lot on the Wii U games. The funny thing is no one bought them but us, but the trading values are in that $30-$40 range. And I'm like, yeah, pull that trigger. You know what I mean? I think I still have a few of them too.
God, that generation, Nintendo, like, people complain about Nintendo right now. Oh, they don't discount anything. Nothing's whatever. They're so draconian with their policies and everything. They don't let fans make fan games. Look, back in, and they're still always going to be that because of IP protection. But anybody that was going through the 3DS and Wii U era knows Nintendo gave away so many games for free. I got Sonic Lost World for free. I got the Wind Waker HD for free. I got Kid Icarus Uprising for free. I got a ton of free stuff from Nintendo from that era, which has built a lot of goodwill. Obviously, I'm a simp when it comes to Nintendo, but still, that was the criticism back then. But that's a whole other aside here. But you did play Star Fox Zero. You enjoyed it for what it was. Yeah. For what it was.
I enjoy it,
and may have put too much stock into it.
Well, we've always, even now, we're just petty in video games. Where and you can tell it from even the modern day stuff. Not going to be related to one of my non-sponsors, but might be related to one of my non-sponsors. Is that I feel like fandoms are unrealistic and actually what makes a good game. To be very honest with you. To be super honest with you, like if you ever heard
fandoms in general are unrealistic for everything.
Fandom in general. Yeah, and they're not the people that you go to. And unfortunately, we're in 2016, it was easy to dismiss it. We're now in this new era where there's more of a place and a statement to it. And it's kind of discouraging to a degree, where we can't just be like, because I think people were just too hard on it for whatever the reason might be unnecessarily. I don't think you guys know what a perfect game is. And the thing is, like, I don't even think you guys know what an enjoyable game is, because of I don't want to say unrealistic expectations, but just the unnecessary expectations. Seriously,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I played it. I think there's a lot of extreme scenarios when it comes to expectations in favorite franchises, right? Like, I think it's like Zelda fans right now, because they did also confirm that the release date for the Zelda movie next year. And like, I'm not really expecting Lord of the Rings. They're filming it in the same location, but I'm not expecting Lord of the Rings. I shouldn't. That's completely unreasonable. I just want a competent enough movie where I'm just like, yeah, they hit the points. That's fine by me. And like the Mario movie, like, I understand some fans were disappointed in that. I'm just, well, what did you expect? It was Illumination. Like, you could see the writing on the wall already. So
it's a star franchise that has no substance. Zelda does, but also doesn't. So it's
and maybe it was more of a vessel for Nintendo to try and get their other franchises, because they're trying to hop on to Disney did with Marvel, where Marvel was relatively, I guess, in the main. Okay, So that happened, I guess. So yeah, once again, it crashed on us. Don't know what the heck happened there. This is the second time in a row that this has happened to us, but whatever. I'll finish my thought on fandoms and well, the Marvel movies. The way that Disney was utilizing that franchise, they were really using them as a vessel to try and get some less popular characters to be more popular, because a lot of people didn't really know who Iron Man was. People knew who Iron Man was, if you were into comics, but like the mainstream wasn't. Okay, if you
I
had
mean,
to pick
go
out any
go.
Marvel characters, some people would be like some of the X-Men, the Hulk, and Spider-Man, and Captain America, I
Mhm.
guess. But after that,
I mean, go bigger. You got like you have Vision of all characters, who now
yeah,
has his own spin-off on a spin-off.
yeah,
So I see the point.
yeah. So maybe Nintendo's looking at Illumination as, okay, this can be a vessel for our franchises to be able to promote those a lot more. And hey, look, there's also a rumor of a Star Fox movie, okay, which of course Charles is really looking forward to if that's going to be the case. I
Day
always thought
one.
it could be a series because they're in space and it just feels like a game storyline that could be a series. But maybe they're going to reserve that for the video games, because this version of Star Fox, like I said, I think it could be a reimagining, an alternate storyline that they'll hit the same points for the most part, but maybe just maybe they may have it as a jumping off point where, hey, this ending is not going to be like 64, and they'll copy Final Fantasy 7 and be like, oh no, it's going to be actually a little
Well,
different, and then they can jump onto that, because essentially it's rebooting here with 64
yeah.
means that Star Fox Adventures didn't happen, or Star Fox Assault. They're basically like, oh, we're just not gonna do that.
Well, they did say they're adding in more stuff, so there's going to be some
Mhm.
context to the cutscenes, which I think is nice because the thing that we always give crap on Nintendo is a very text-heavy story.
Yeah,
And in 2026, when
or no
everybody is
story at all.
undiagnosed with, yeah, who's undiagnosed with ADHD speed reads it,
Mhm.
I'm guilty of that. If it's a heavily text-based game, I'm just gonna skip it.
I've
I'm
been
not gonna skip it,
skipping
but you know,
the dialogue in Death Stranding, just
ooh, how
running right through
could
it.
you? God, granted, even though the dialogue is very
The
pulpy, but
dialogue
it's
with
It's
the
Hideo,
the
so you know.
dialogue with like the people at when I deliver stuff, I just skip them.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Not the
That's
actual story cutscenes.
But there's people who do it. Like that's why I couldn't. There's some people whose entertainment is watching streamers, which hey, I get
Mhm.
it. Sometimes I like to see what particular reviewers do for books or games, stuff like that. But like to watch people play the games, and it's the way they kind of like handle it, or if you're trying to get a sequence of it, and then they're so brash with their conversations. I'm like, man,
Mhm.
like you're too loud. Shut the hell up, please. I feel like Larry David at the funeral when that one episode occurred. So I think the remake is fine with adding in some cutscenes. I think they're gonna add it to where you're gonna play as Fox's dad a little bit longer, which is
Mhm.
cool. And before we talk about like the character design, because that's the fun part that we can have
Mhm.
a longer discussion, I like the fact that they kind of gave it longevity in a multiplayer and challenge mode aspect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's interesting to me. I'm like, if you can have some of that Ace Combat dynamic, which is a very underrated series. I think I got 7 for free on the PS Plus. If I used to play like Ace Combat 4 with dad, he loves everything that's flying, right? Top Gun. But even with the multiplayer, like it just makes sense because dogfighting's niche, but the thing is Nintendo knows how to do niche well. And it's just something like I remember playing with friends or at my house, my parents would like turn around. Like I showed it to my parents when I went to go see them, and they were all like super excited from it. It's just interesting ways of how you can do it because it's that game that should have had a such bigger build. And I don't know if it's because it just never sold the way they did, or is because no one wanted to play these aerial dogfights with furries. And I really think it's that. And I think we're different now in 2026 in comparison to 2006,
Okay. Yeah.
where it might be more appealing because the running joke, and I think we mentioned today, was there's the ball and gun culture in gaming.
Yeah.
And then here you have the gun culture in aerial assault because Star Fox itself, like Star Fox 64 is a relatively short game. And when you rented it as often as I did at Hollywood Video, you would kind of forget that they're about like it can be played multiple ways on the rebranching. So this
Mhm.
gives a good way to kind of like if you're that person who just wants to kind of do a couple missions and then that's it, call it a day, but you have the multiplayer, or you have like the challenge mode that they have. I'm like, this is good to start with because even though Nintendo has a way of innovating the game style of their games, as I play Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, they don't have a great way of keeping you there forever if it's not part of the grand design.
Mm,
Like Tears of the Kingdom, grand design, stay there forever. Breath of the
yeah.
Wild, stay there forever. Mario, once you get all the stars and you realize you're not cut out for those hidden hard levels, it's time to go, right?
Yeah. I think
Um,
they tried maybe with Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I think they added some stuff there, but that was more of just DLC than anything else. It's like Mario is like a start to finish playthrough. Yes, they do give you some little nuggets if you want to do 100%, but they don't really have a real grand prize. It's just a
yeah.
challenge. Super Mario 3D World had that. Mario Odyssey kind of sort of. Mario Brothers Wonder definitely did. But it's not one of those like, okay, I'm like, there are people that speedrun it because there's every game can be speedrun, but it's not designed like Star Fox in an arcadey sense, right? Where the whole point is
Mhm.
just to keep replaying, or like a classic beat 'em up or other shooters like space shooters and stuff like that on the arcade, or even Sonic. So yeah,
Even like Metroid, though,
yeah,
we both beat Beyond.
yeah, and I think I got to
We
like
never got.
98% in Metroid
Yeah,
Dread.
but once you're even with Dread, once you're done, you're done. There's no like because it lacks that emotional resonance. But
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo's always been like the gameplay will take you and give you that feeling. Very
Gameplay
rare.
first, story.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played well, Tears of the Kingdom, but there's thoughts on that of why the story actually resonates with me. But in comparison to some of the other stuff that people have with it, and it's also what I hate to say it, but it's part of the unrealistic expectations of the streamers and the quasi like I don't want to call them fake game cultures because it's never like fair. It's like how do you like your pizza, right? How do you like
Mm-hmm.
your sandwich? How do you cut your peanut butter? But to a degree, it's like they're they lack the substance of like what a game culture might be. They want that, you can't see me, I'm doing the flicking on my fingers. They want that instantaneous, gotta have it now, XYZ kind of thing. They want that payoff and especially a story, because everybody wants like cinema. Thank you, Naughty Dog, for making everything about cinema, right?
Mm.
It's never really kind of that. And I feel like that's what's kind of been detrimental for anybody who's just trying to enjoy stuff.
Yeah, I
And you're not
mean,
gonna get with Nintendo.
yeah, but I mean, the approach here with the cutscenes, I think them trying to flesh out this storyline with some
It's a space
actual
opera.
context. Yeah, like I said, yeah, space opera. And having the cutscenes will incentivize people more than anything else. Hey, I want to
Mhm.
see the cutscenes. I don't want to just watch this on YouTube. Obviously, you want to try out the different levels and the different the paths that you can take, which 64 already did. But now you can have more of a storyline. Maybe there's some changes that they'll do in the storyline too. That's what Star Fox Command was actually about too. Was the different endings for each character there. That varied wildly. If anybody's seen videos on Star Fox Command for the DS, but like I said, at the end of it, I still want this to, when we get to the end of it, because they did give us the big preview with James McLeod, and there's always the possibility now that they are changing lines and it's not once again 1-to-1. Maybe it'll come up as an alternate ending that moves on from there. Now 64 just kind of ended right there, and then Star Fox Adventures was the next game, and that wasn't even supposed to be a Star Fox game. So the franchise just kind of went all over the place when it came to story, which is a hallmark of the series actually. But now, hey, let's do it again. Let's try it one more time, but we'll start with the base here. We know Star Fox 64 is a good game. Let's just remake it. 3D
And it's
on
been
the
like
yeah.
15 years.
Yeah, 3D
So
was on
like
the
what are we
3DS and it
why
was
are we
just a
crying?
1-to-1. It was just a
I've
1-to-1.
had to deal, yeah,
Yeah.
we've had to deal with how many Last of Us remakes and remasters in the span of
Yeah.
10 years. Like
Yeah.
it's okay. And I say that with some shade, because we want what we think we want until we realize we don't actually need it. You needed another Star Fox game, at least to justify the interest of people, because there's be plenty of people who say, yeah, I wanted this,
Mhm.
and they're going to commit to it in comparison to just bringing out a brand new one. Because even though you and I like Metroid, the question goes to like, does anybody want Metroid? That's why they did the remaster for
Mhm.
Prime to get people in there. There's a reason to this, right?
Yeah, yeah, and Nintendo's shown an affinity for these franchises because they don't just want the one franchise to be Mario, right? obviously they always have Pokemon. That's always going to be just the cash cow that they can always lean back on. But it's them, it's Mario, and it's like, well, outside of weebs, nobody's really into Fire Emblem. So there's that.
It's too intimidating.
Yeah.
Every time I think about Three Houses, I'm like, I can't dedicate in good faith all that, you know?
Yeah. And we talked about this when we talked about the movie 2 weeks ago, how there's so many franchises that they can go and really make something of. Like I said, Kid Icarus is always a good one, I think. And obviously Pikmin can just be all those little shorts and everything. But Star Fox is good. Kirby,
Pikmin
obviously.
can literally
Star
be
Fox,
like your Pixar
F-Zero.
shorts.
Yeah. Yeah, you got F-Zero, and Metroid can be its own thing. And if Nintendo really wants it to hit, they can have it more like a teenage version of, PG-13 Alien, right? It could always just be that, which I'm assuming that's what they're going to lean on if they're ever going to make it a movie. In any case, as far as, so we talked about the look of the characters. Don't hate them. They,
okay.
It definitely is an homage to the Star Fox Super Nintendo box art. They looked semi-realistic there. People were talking about their feet and how Falco has bird feet because he's a bird. And Fox has fox feet because he's a fox. Okay, all right, that's fine. But it's just it doesn't tread too much into the uncanny valley, I think. And I think some people, I saw somebody make a fair point that maybe they look that realistic in a sense because now they have these avatars that you can make for yourself on the Switch chat. Hey,
Nintendo always does need a gimmick.
And well, at least this one looks fun. This is like a fun gimmick, right? Hey, I could be Fox, I can be Falco or Pigma or Wolf or whoever, right? I'm sure they'll have like every character there. So that you can just be that character. But the look, I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's a hyper-realistic thing. I love James McCloud's look.
He just looks like after a hard day of work, he just has a Budweiser.
Yeah, the memes are pretty funny online, right? You've been posting them on the group chat there. People, there's some really funny switched up dialogue that people have been putting up, and I can't put that on this show right now, at least, because there's some language that we don't even use on this show on there, but it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny to me. So if anything, someone made a point as well, like, because as much as the Star Fox series hasn't really had many games, but the characters are pretty iconic for what they are. If you post like World of Warcraft,
we thank Smash for that.
Yeah, World of Warcraft posted like a post of like a fox, a falcon, a rabbit, and a frog right next to each other, and they didn't even have to they didn't have to say Star Fox. People knew what it was about. Like, those four creatures are pretty synonymous with each other, and I think a lot of people who do see it recognize them. And introducing the kiddos to all of that with the Mario movie, because they did show the full team there just for a brief moment. But it was a pretty cool looking brief moment. Now imagine, Charles.
I will tell you, yes.
Imagine.
Oh, I was like, no one laughed at my little Star Fox and Lumas thing that I had.
Oh.
It's because Nintendo already knew, and Nintendo's like, boy, they ain't gonna do that. I'm like, you sons of guns. Because everybody's like, what does that mean?
I do hope. I don't know if Charles, you noticed the intro that they did for the Star Fox team when Fox is telling his backstory to Toad and Peach. What if the Star Fox movie was in that style? Just that animated looking style. I think that would go hard. Cool. That would go really hard.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Like, I ain't gonna say no to it.
I don't.
My thought process, but I think Illumination's gonna want their hands on it, because they probably have an agreement or an arrangement with anything like that.
But so they're the ones that produced it. So what if they're leaning into a different art style that could be that could be the Star Fox movie if it's just in that sort of animated style where it looks like it was hand drawn, but it wasn't, because they've perfected, or not, maybe I wouldn't say. Well, I kind of sort of have perfected 3D animation where it does look 2D. So that possibly.
I only watched like their one thing. I've never seen anything past like the one Despicable Me.
Oh yeah. And then I saw the Grinch, and I forgot what else I've seen from them. Anyways, so there's that. Obviously, look at the gameplay. They do have an online multiplayer for the combat mode, right? They have the challenge mode as well, which will be interesting. So Got little missions
They
there
even
to.
have an upped difficulty mode. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've
expert
caught that
mode.
or
Yeah, they
yeah,
got
I'm
expert mode.
surprised.
I thought 64 had something like that, where if you beat the game, maybe I'm not sure. But if any in any case, it'll give people a challenge that already played 64. Right? It's
Hmm.
compatible with the N64 controller. If you want to go and get one of those, Charles, I'm not sure if that's your jam.
But I hate that controller. And I can understand people's romance, but it felt like playing with an anatomy is the polite word that we're
Mhm.
gonna use. Because every now and then I have to realize I can't be like the old trolls and make some loose statements there. But I don't like twirling things left or right, being frustrated, asking if it's working or not. Hurts the pride these days at like 36, 37. But I don't know. The N64 controller was always kind of weird. Perfect weapon. Like if your sibling was annoying you, you could
Mhm.
strangle them easily, without
Yeah.
issue, right? Just put the thing in and you can use it as like a batarang, if anything.
All right. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's coming out next month. So,
Yep,
oh man,
we will be there.
yeah. I'm gonna get it. It's only $50, right? So
Yeah,
it's lots of
that's the
lots.
upside of, and I gotta buy it, man, because the
Yeah,
thing. Well, I mean, me, I'll Charles it, but I remember I never owned it
mm,
because it was
that's
just
true.
renting at Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
So it's like we're doing it for me. Being an
Hmm.
adult's awesome sometimes, kids.
And it does need an update. I had 64 3D. I didn't have 64 back in the day, but I did have 64 3D,
Mhm.
which was a fun. It was great. The 3D was
Yeah.
probably the best on the 3DS, actually. Star Fox is definitely for that. But going back to 64, playing it on the Switch, because you can play it on the Switch already, it really desperately does need an update. And we've talked about this too, Charles. That whole generation
I hate the
of
64
the
era.
of
You
the
know that.
PS1, the N64, and the Sega Saturn, like they're ripe for remakes. Final Fantasy just got
Mhm.
it right. Star Fox 64 just got it. Ocarina of Time is rumored to be getting it this year because it's the 40th anniversary of Zelda, and I'm
I
going
mean, you
to
had all the Resident Evil remakes as
yeah.
well in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Right. They remade Resident Evil 1. There's a lot there. They remade Crash Bandicoot, right? So that entire generation is relatively quick and easy that they can turn around some of those, legacy franchises. Uh, they remade the first Tomb Raider, but that was like back in the 2000s, like the mid 2000s.
Well, they're
Um,
remaking it again,
oh yeah, they are
if you
remaking it
remember.
one more time. So they're
Yeah.
gonna try their hand one more time there, and it's just there's everybody's begging Sega to redo Sonic Adventure because they didn't release anything on the Saturn that was worth anything, and Sonic Extreme. That'd be a miracle if they could put that together. But I think this is good. I mean, the millennials are definitely the adults here now. We're in our 30s and 40s now, about to
Yeah,
enter.
you guys
So
gotta understand, we're close to getting like colonoscopies for
yeah.
health reasons in our age group. We need something that makes us like remember the days we didn't have to be
Oh
on bed
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, but this is good. I'm glad that there's going to be a new generation of people that are going to be able to experience this, just because of the wide scope of the Switch and the Switch 2. That was the other thing, is that Nintendo's got a better foothold now than they did back then, because 64 came out in
Mhm.
'97 and PlayStation had already taken over by that point. So iconic once again. It came out with the Rumble Pack too. That was the first game to do that. So yeah. So all right, so that's the Star Fox talk, Charles. We're looking forward to, but this is a good gaming year already.
So
2026, like people
we had a
are,
decent 2025 too.
yeah,
We were
but like
off, so we couldn't talk about it, but 2026, man.
2026 is looking to be one of the best. Like the reviews just came out for Forza Horizon 6, which I'm going to utilize my Game Pass for whenever I'm done with Death Stranding 2. I do want to finish that before I start something else completely different, because from the looks of it, Horizon 6 is set in Japan. It is
Yes.
going. So let's see where it's here. All right. Okay. All right. So we are back once again. I crashed one more time for us. That was great. So I think I'm gonna heed Charles's suggestion and just not share my screen with him. He doesn't really need to see it in any case, because I don't really, or he can just see it on his computer or something like that. But in any case, yeah, Forza Horizon 6 has come. Some people already have review copies already, and I think someone accidentally released it on Steam, and some people were able to download it early too. But regardless, it is always been a beautiful looking game as far as just since the Xbox 360 days. Great looking models of cars set in different locations. I've played every game in the series, Charles, and it's getting 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s. It's set in Japan, and it's I can't wait. I already sent Doug the tweet about the reviews there because he has an Xbox Series X, and I'm hoping he'll get it or he'll use Game Pass to get it because this will be an amazing experience to play with other people. But even then, I like Forza because I can just sit down and drive, put on a podcast, and just drive. That's it. That's it. I hate driving in real life, but man, do I love doing it in video games. I have the whole setup too with the ultra wide screen and the racing wheel. So I'm gonna definitely.
Oh, it's gonna look so good.
Yes. With the ultra wide screen, the racing wheel, I've got a great CPU here. I still haven't made the GPU upgrade yet, Charles. I don't know. I may just want to see if the world ends or not before I actually go ahead and purchase it. But regardless, Death Stranding 2 is running perfectly fine for me, so I don't think I really need to make that change right now. And besides, this is just going to be amazing. I'm showing the footage on the video version of this, and I'm looking forward to it. What, GTA 6 is supposed to come out this year, right? At the end of the year?
Yep.
So we got that, and I don't know what else Nintendo has in store because they've said that they're like sitting on several different games that they're ready to just release whenever they strategically want to, which is
well, they have the Fire Emblem. It's not for us, but
yeah, there's a Fire Emblem there.
I gotta buff up the good old backlog.
Yeah. Yoshi's coming out as well this month, right?
Yes.
So Yoshi's coming out. Splatoon Raiders is coming out, but you're not really keen on it. But I'll let you know when I get it because I'm getting it. Let's see.
I mean, like even I've only played like one Forza game, and that's because I got it when it came out in my. So like, long story short, I was a sufferer of the red ring of death, but I was smart enough to get the Walmart insurance, so I was able to get Halo ODST and the Forza bundle with the controller that came out. So that was my experience with it. And I thought it was cool. Racing games were weird because I was always on the presumption in like my early 20s and then on, you have to have friends to play with. But I do remember the Forza game kind of like you kind of do your own gig, and that's what you told me when you had played it a couple of years ago. And for anybody who can't drive because the price of gas is ridiculous and you want to see what adventure looks like simulation wise, go play Forza.
Yeah.
Go have fun with that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just a nice, fun game to just sit down, drive, and you can put on a podcast, have videos.
You need
in the back.
Games like that. Even I need games like that.
I think this year has been
we need that.
Yeah, this year's been a kind of a revolution of I guess this is what people are calling this genre, the cozy video game.
I can't touch Pokapia or Tamagotchi. I already know what will happen.
Yeah, Tamagotchi. I do want to get that for like my sister so she can play with the kids because it seems like that's that type of game. Because I don't think like Pokopia is just like a little bit of Pokemon Animal Crossing or Pokemon Minecraft, right? So I don't want to repeat of that, but Tomodachi just seems a little different. All right.
I heard Pokapia is basically Animal Crossing Pokemon style, and then you do some more stuff. And then Tomodachi is basically what we all kind of want those little Wii avatars to be, right? And then some.
All right. So we're at 9:10, Charles. Trying to keep this under like maybe an hour and a half or something like that. So we're not going to go too long here. What else do you want to talk about? What's been on your mind?
I'll say for the gaming stuff for next week because we went gaming heavy the last couple times.
Yeah.
Because I've been beating a lot of stuff. Go from there. There's a funny story of why
you got released from the shackles and boom.
Well, I got released from the shackles, but I also got sick. So I ain't going out. So I'm like, these symptoms mean I have to stay indoors. We're doing this. So that just meant that I was all play all day and like negating stuff. But I think what we can do if we're going to talk about it, because we are a variety show and not everything can kind of be gaming and stuff like that. Like I'll ask you this, Francisco. What's been going on in your entertainment world? What shows, what movies have you been watching? We're going to get to sports, trust me.
Yeah.
But, I have been marathoning Mad Men. And it's a show that I know. I almost know almost everything that happens to some of the main characters. Like I know the ending because it's been around for 20 years. So, but what happened was it was just Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, Charles and True, FJOJR, Frijoles,
Hmm.
Sports Goofs, Moral Historian, Panthers Historian, and everything else that's going on with Francisco. Because he's got like 50 other ones out there. But I was like, you know what? Maybe this will appeal to me. And we talk about like cheap gaming of like ball and gun. There's also a lot of like just cheap television entertainment, especially like on Netflix and Prime, that are just trying to justify
Yeah,
certain
it's
things
it's
out
getting
there.
hard to watch stuff. I haven't been able to sit down and watch some series that I was into, but then I'm just like, I don't know why. It just kind of felt like homework after a while.
Mm.
Like I stopped watching Invincible, and now I just watch it through YouTube Shorts because I just
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
hit. I just need to hit the bullet points. And the same thing for The Boys. I did the same
Ugh,
thing for The Boys, and now
so glad that's ending.
they're finally at the final episode, and they're gonna release it in theaters. But I'm not gonna go. I'm not doing that. But yeah, I've just been consuming those shows via that. But continue, Charles.
So it makes me kind of like regret not watching it because your palate changes as you age and change and everything like that, as it should. In life, you're supposed to like watch certain things. But that was becoming like my mild obsession. So the point of it, of just saying, hey, well, for entertainment wise, is that the beauty about TV shows and movies, even if it's like a little antiquated to a degree, and 20 years could be antiquated, but it's a period piece, and it
Hmm.
kind of shows you instead of tells you, or I would say it does a little bit of both when you think about it, because yes, we're going through the 60s, but it's the early 60s. So there's a lot of stuff that's changing, that's coming into it. Women's rights, Civil Rights Act, what it is to be a man, blah, 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 blah. But it's just good damn acting. And I was like, I go on the deep dive. I'm like, how many awards did they get? What they not get? Then I was like, okay, it was just going up against like Breaking Bad as well. But it's definitely a recommend. I know the prior year, before we took our long Stranger Things type sabbatical, we had said, okay, what is this person doing? What is that person doing? Because you had made a list of like TV shows and movies that you have read. I'm kind of doing the same thing, but I'm not like rating it, because besides that, I went through like a bunch of anime and I caught
Ooh,
up to a lot of anime. Like I caught
nice.
up to Jujutsu Kaisen
I wanted to watch One Punch Man
like
season
a
three,
month
but
ago. The animation's just off. That's
I
one that I
I
just like, what
know,
is
but
this
I
supposed to
just want
tell
to
me?
watch it for story. I've seen some of these shorts on YouTube of it, but and people complain about it, but I just want to see the story.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. When you have a good story that kind of yields you, you're gonna do a lot with it. And my thing with anime, the reason why I enjoy it is like, aside from being a typical shonen boy, it's just like it really is decent background noise that I don't have to pay attention to anything until something comes up. You know what I mean? Because that's the hard part about
Dubbed,
Mad
of
Men. I'm like, all
course,
right,
yes.
if I'm trying to do, I do the yeah. Well, listen, we're in 2026. Everybody, it is okay to listen to dubbed and say that you like dubbed. I tried to get into Chainsaw Man, and I'm like, but then it ended because a lot of the mangas have been ending abruptly. I'm like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
then I could just live with that. But so we're doing that. Got to catch up with Shorzy because I know they're on season 5. And then I was continuing New Girl. It's a show that like it's tough for me when I don't care about the main character, but I love everybody who's the side characters. But then I caught up with Shrinking season 3, and that's good entertainment. Apple TV actually has a lot of good stuff that's out there, television and movie wise, because I've seen that, saw Severance, obviously. Try to get into Pluribus, or whatever it's called. I can't say it. Has Rhea Seahorn from Better Call Saul. Very slow. Maybe it just wasn't the time or place, but that's when I'm like, all right, because I don't want everything to be just gaming, because I'm free from my shackles. I don't have to do a lot of school, and then my road work is gonna end probably by like the beginning of June, knock on wood, so I can be stationary again, watch up the background, because before it's out of some of the shows, I'll just put Inuyasha on, so it's like almost being at 3 in the morning. Back when I was a kid, it's a very digestible show, where you don't need to pay much attention, and then when you just hear like Inuyasha go Windscar, you're like, all right, I know what's going on here. And then movies are kind of back in town, man. This is kind of good. I used to complain that there's an oversaturation, but it kind of makes me want to go see some films, and of course watch Daredevil Born Again. So I think this is a good resurgence media, because I said, all right, I looked and I said, what do I do daily, right? Or what do I do as my prime thing? Because this has been the year of change, even though we're dubbing it as the year of Charles, Return
Return
of
of
the
the King.
King.
Yeah.
I got to return to something. So like there was a lot of different changes. I even went as far as like I'm doing, because I have like Marvel Unlimited. I do read some comics. I'm like, all right, an hour a night, just look on my phone and read stuff and catch up,
Mm.
make it
Okay.
worth the while. because I think I'm looking for stimulation because it's like, what's your form of entertainment? Maybe that's just my cry for like doing a hobby. But I realize with the gaming, with as much gaming as I've done, coming into it, you're like, all right, let's get some different stuff in there and see it. So that's just been the world because that's the thing that we don't talk about or we talk about in the chat, but that's the interest. Like, okay, what's on your prime time before we go to sports? Because I was actually this was the least sports I've been for a lot. I actually watched a lot of football, surprisingly.
Mm.
Basketball was here and there. Didn't even go to game. Went to a lot of hockey and watched some of the hockeys. And then baseball's baseball. Baseball is a cruel mistress with like a 15-inch dildo, and she's just gonna hurt you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's my thing. I want to pick your brain on it.
Well, let's see. I mean, as far as anime, I haven't really been able to kind of settle down and get into something as of late. I do pop on Netflix or Amazon Prime, or now I have all the apps. Thanks to my sister, she has everything. And Hulu and all those. I mean, I was able to get through Shiku no Konoku no Koishi Tantan, which was
Say that 5 times fast.
which is a show. It's the Dear Girl show. I don't know if I think I non-sponsored it at one point, but so it's my dear friend Noko-tan. Dumb show. Like I said, it's just stupid. It really is. It's random. It's crazy. And that's kind of what I'm looking to consume because I just don't want to watch anything serious or anything like that. Obviously, caught up with American Dad. It's back on Fox now. It's no longer on TBS anymore. Yeah.
That's a good bedtime show right there.
Yeah, it is, and it still hits for me. I don't know. I think they might be a little bit more restricted now that it's back on Fox. I think like TBS, I think they could get away with a lot more because it was on cable. But it's fine. It just gets me through what I need to get through. I finished, or I got caught up with Solar Opposites on Hulu, so I'm caught up with that too. It's
the Rick and Morty guy.
The same animator. Obviously, he's not a voice anymore because he was touching people or whatever. But there's that's the end of that. So I watched through that. I think that series ended too. Obviously, watched the end of Smiling Friends.
Yes, I just watched the final episode last week.
Okay, yeah. Hey, look, they did 3 seasons, right? And they got through it, and maybe they didn't want it to be stale. Maybe they just got tired of it. Maybe it was just getting too much for them. Ultimately, they created enough good memes out of it too. A lot of people were fans of it. I thought it was funny, and I'm glad they kind of stopped before it got too stale. Or you don't want a situation where it gets too much like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where you just don't even know what's happening anymore.
I think that. Well, I would say it's not just that, but the longer your gaps go, it's going to fall into the Venture Brothers kind of vibe, where there's either stale, or if you even take the break and try to come back, we forget that you're there. Like Venture Brothers was one of the most intelligently written comedies and satires out there.
Yeah,
Aqua Teen Hunger Force is what I think. If you were 12, around that age group of 11 or 13, when it came out circa 2001, it was probably your favorite show for some period of time.
Yes, it was.
And exactly. Like, it's a rite of passage. And then it gets like kind of funky with it. So the hard part is that I had only seen bits of Smiling Friends as like meme stuff on Twitter, and I literally digested all of it because it's an easily watchable show. It's like 12 episodes. I destroyed it within a month and a half, and then I thought I caught up season 3. I'm like, all right, there's gonna be more, because you just end up falling in love with these characters. I think they're very well written, and they're even though as aloof and manic as they are, I love Alan. Cracks me up. He runs into one of my friends, and I tell him that. He's like, that's insulting. I love Charlie because Charlie is like the most it's an insult. You did that pretty well. And then, like, Charlie to me is actually a very human character written. And if you actually met real people,
I mean, he literally did what you do with when he the video game episode where the boss, Mr. Boss, found out he was playing on Steam. Basically, that's what you do. You call out sick from work because you want to play X video game that came out. You order in some food, and that was literally you.
And you get food poisoning. We've all been there. We've all been there. Or the other thing is, like, when he's in hell and he just punches the demon. He's like, I told you I was going to do it. And, like, Pim himself is... I know real people like Pim. That overly positive, want to do their job because they're in the service industry kind of thing. Never to that degree where Pim's actually a maniac who's repressing his rage. But that's what we love him from. And then we love The Glep episode is actually really good. It was one of the most
The
recent ones.
origin story.
But yeah, and then like Mr. Boss is just him just choking out the witch on Halloween. He's like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do?" It's that kind of wacky stuff because it's a generational. I sound like an old man here, but it's a generational gap. It feels like between what's funny wacky for our time, it's like been funny wacky the last couple of years. Like Fox is trying to put some trash out there, which I couldn't get into, and then like I felt like Smiling Friends was kind of like that connection into it. But also, it's also a good reminder of how like offline I am from what actually is cool these days or interesting. And I need to be invested into that because the worst thing you could do, especially in today's streaming era, is miss out on the good stuff. I want to miss out on that bad stuff. Take your Love Island and your Love is Blind and your Temptation Island and then your all the other isms out there. Take your Virgin Rivers on Netflix and all this other stuff, except for Heated Rivalry. Francisco and I did watch that, not together. But I do think the guy who plays the Canadian could be a perfect Dick Grayson. That's my comparison thing because Batman 2 is coming out. Everything I'm like, you can be Dick Grayson. You can be Dick Grayson. That's all I'm evaluating.
But hold on, Batman 2 was. I mean, they said what's being set in the winter, right? And then like.
Yeah, they've made the formal announcements today that we've known for a while.
Yeah, but
play heavy from that.
It's a year. It's not year 2 Batman anymore. How
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know how deep they were.
All I know is it's just going to be. All I know is they're going to. I'm assuming they're going to take a little bit from the Long Halloween. The Penguin, that was another show I watched. But the problem is, I think the Penguin, every time I watch it, somehow, some way, I'm like absolutely obliterated. And I never remember, except for my drunk self, just going saying, Christina Milioti is a woman you kill for. And I tried it. But it's a good show. They even have like the Clayface movie that's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Clayface. But that just tells me that's their way of like engineering like the spooky supernatural stuff in the Matt Reeves world. And it's good. I think the problem is like when you have like a 6-year gap, it feels like 6 years between movies. I think it's only like 4. It's a tough kind of sell to digest.
Batman came out in 2022. Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it's I guess to generate because we talked about like movies that are coming out, right? You have Supergirl, and I'll watch it. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. Oh, I have the Batman in like 4K.
I have the 4K one, but good. It comes with the 2 discs. So
yeah, but that's the thing too. I miss like good mediums, and I liked owning physical copies, even though my 2005 Sin City DVD is useless to me now. Right, but you get better quality onto it. Like I don't need to buy everything, but there's some stuff that comes in. But yeah, so there was like the Batman that came out. So I was like, oh my god, Sebastian Stan's gonna be Harvey Dent. I'm like, that's a balls on, performance right there that we're gonna get. And I have my own thoughts on some things, but you kind of want it too because with the plethora of streaming, you want stuff to be catered. So I'll hear people's advice and I'll try new things. The only thing I avoid is people just saying like, watch a stand-up special because whoever they tend to recommend.
I'm just gonna unload this. This won't be there no more, so that's not gonna be there no more. There. All right, we're back again, Charles. So you were talking about stand-up specials and people recommending certain comedians. You just kind of know what their vibe is about.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing over the weekend, and I guess this transitions into sports to a degree. Is one of my buddies saw the roast of Kevin Hart, and I'm like, guys, like I just never found Kevin Hart funny, and I don't like roast.
I think his initial specials were fine, but like then he became so big where he's unrelatable, and that ruins some comedians. Now, some of them like I've loved every Dave Chappelle special that he's ever come out with. I've seen him in live. I'm a massive fan of Dave Chappelle, and I think I always will be. Because I don't know, the guy's he's funny to me, and I think he's just found ways to be able to make people laugh, even though he also lives in a basically unrelatable position where he's just so famous that his normal day-to-day is not what we experience, but he can find a way to make that funny. But Kevin Hart, I don't know, I think he kind of just lost it, but different strokes for different folks there when it comes to that.
Yeah, well, Chappelle had some substance with his humor, even with his like controversial statements. You can watch Equanimity and kind of see talking about. I haven't seen the other ones, but then people were like, oh yeah, it's like Kevin Hart did his roast, and then the Tony Heinrich guy, I don't know his name. He looks like you want to punch him in the face. So I only know him from affiliation because of WWE, where he's on like the Kill Tony thing. Because as you know, WWE has to assuage to the corporate masters. I almost said
I don't know.
Magus. They
Turning
have
to
to go
it's
from there.
turning to
But
Fortnite at this point.
it's just a little bit of everything. And but the problem is, I watched Backlash, and I feel like I
You
have a
did.
Cage in me, but I think Cage would be better next week or the
Okay.
next show
All right.
because I'll tell you why. Aside from me getting together, because I was about to cancel that shit. One, look at that. We went
That's
for a
one.
bit.
Yeah.
Is
Like
it
an
is
hour.
because I'm thinking about if I'm gonna get the AEW pay per view that's coming this year because I do it once a year. I don't want to
True.
do illegal streams anymore. I make enough to buy one $50 pay per view. You know what I mean? WWE is also doing two other specials in the month of May. They're doing Saturday Night Main Event. I guess it's like a mini cage I'm giving y'all, and then Clash in Italy where it's Gunther and Cody. So it's like there's something to really
You
build into this
love
as
yourself some
opposed to it
Gunther.
being the. I love myself some Gunther. You right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Aside
Cody's
from
been talking a
being
lot
like
about
the
Zelda
state of
lately.
discipline.
A lot of people talk about Zelda lately.
He's a
It's
Zelda
weird.
dweeb. I'm talking about Zelda lately because I'm playing The Legend of
Freaking
Zelda:
Kylie
Echoes of
Jenner's
Wisdom
playing
as we play
Zelda
right
right
now.
now. Dear Lord.
Zelda is cool, bro.
I
But you
know.
know what's really cool? Being able to copy a lot of my shit
Mhm.
and just utilize it my way in this game on the Switch too, because the frame rate. We can't speak enough about it. But yeah, long story short, not to overstuff it. Like comedy's weird, and you know the thing is, if I really want to do a stand up, I'll just do it on the phone when I'm like showering, and then I'll get my laughs in. But you know the problem is how do I want to say this? I think I'm funny, even though I know I'm being mean, so I can humor myself itself. But what I find the most humor comes from people's reactions on Twitters because half the time they're just Twitter talkers, but it's the most aloof stuff that they say on burner accounts that make me like really just die. And sometimes it's not even just the meme. Sometimes it's just whatever general statement they say that have you like hocking up a lung
Yeah.
laughing. So
Just
because
the
human beings are funny.
simplicity of it all too. Like you don't have to put up
Yeah.
you don't have to set it up. You don't have to do any of that. It's just a one liner essentially, just with a little bit of context, and you know what it's about, and you just die, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
so that's the beauty of some of that. I think, oh man, I think I've been trying to retweet stuff with our sports, just anything that I find funny. I just always have to remember to just retweet it because I'd love to just also do like a little portion of this show where we're just kind of reflecting on some of the funny stuff that we saw over the course of a week or two, and just be like, that was pretty funny. Because there's a lot out there, especially in the sports world. If we're gonna loop it back around to
It's just
sports,
so much. That's the hard part. Not even just what we missed, but with all these controversies, looking at you, Mike Vrabel, and Diana Rossi, like this should be over,
yeah,
and yet it's still continuing. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And then you get people that are just Dave Portnoy is not likable, and he knows he's not likable. I'm not even going to try to talk shade to him. He's probably going to threaten to sue us, so we don't have money. But that's the whole thing. Is like people propound the situation, and then you get like the analysts on some stuff because they're really just trying to get all the juice from the stone. And we're not even talking. And that's not even just a statement I'm making about their situation, but it's the longevity. How there's always going to be new stuff into it. NBA playoffs. Oh, okay, there's stuff I sent you about Max Struss today by Chuck.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it.
I mean, it was said by Charles Barkley.
cackling.
Thus, it's the opinion of all Charleses. So the hive mind
Max Struss
continues.
is a handsome guy.
Yeah, there you go.
You
There
know,
you go. Hive
like
man
don't
is,
look him in the eyes.
hive man is true.
Yeah, don't look him in the eyes. So like, there's always something new, and I don't know, but like, and now they're just doing the schedule releases for the NFL. It's like so much, and then even the NHL. Even if I want to digest it, like go Avalanches because I have to run with that. But then the Oilers, they fired their coach in Conovan or however you say his name. So it's like there's so much data there. So being being able to do like a weekly check-in is fine. But the thing is because it requires I'm chronically on Twitter, but then like there's difference between what I never repost for the most part. You know that. But the thing is, like, I think that's how we get like good engagement, just to have people see that humor, that side of it. And then there's Andrew, who I still this day, I believe he's still the Pegasus guy. He'll lie to he'll admit it one day.
I mean, just some of the dumb stuff that's been on over the past week. Obviously, the Star Fox Direct has led me into this mind of this trove of Star Fox memes and videos that people posted on YouTube that I've never seen before.
There's some dedicated people, man. Y'all are my favorite kind of weirdos.
Because Star Fox is definitely memeable because of the comms communications that they have between each other. And there's just some really funny stuff.
Slippy being a racist.
Yeah, the illusion that they're all racist, actually. But they're buddies, so like it's just.
So does it kill you to realize that Fox McCloud is actually Ricky Bobby?
Right. He kind of is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here at first, kids, he's basically, or Ricky Bobby stole from Star Fox. Take as you want, a father who does the same kind of skill set,
Mhm.
bails for like 20 years. Fox is people forget Fox is a mercenary. He's got a ragtag of people. Falco is basically Cal
They
shaken bake.
actually, and they emphasized that. I don't know. There was a line in, well, obviously in the Mario movie, he wasn't going to go unless they paid him. So there was that. And then in the Star Fox trailer for the Switch, they when he's talking to General Pepper in the first opening cutscene there, he's like, "Yeah, my team's available for a price." So hopefully they're going to lean more into the whole, hey, he is generally a good guy, but you still got to pay the guy.
Yeah, he's like Han Solo,
Yeah,
basically.
there you go. There you go. Um, yeah, then they had the Sickos committee with the MLB spaghetti policy. Just
Yep, yep,
absolutely.
yep. Seen that too.
That's
It-
dumb. Yeah. The gone
my
fishing with
regret.
the inside the NBA, and they had Diana
Yep.
Russini and Mike Vrabel when the Celtics were out.
That thing's gonna have legs throughout
They're
the
on
whole
ESPN,
entire.
by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they don't. They have enough clout, right? You get that special status.
Yeah.
It's been the weird thing, and I think my of us taking the time off,
uh,
and maybe you'll agree with me or not, was the fact that I kind of like I was doing this thing where I was annoying the chat. And like I said, if people could just see how often I'll text you guys on nonsense, where I was just showing you like the stadium special meals for everywhere, right when they had before opening day was
mhm.
coming on to it. I was like, I could do it, but I couldn't. Like,
Oh,
I'll eventually get to some of the stuff, but there were some food specialties. I was like, yeah,
yeah.
let me get some of that up
Well,
there.
me and Andrew are actually going to see each other this weekend. We're going to Trop to see the Marlins
There
versus
you
the
go.
Rays on Saturday. So I'll
There
see
you go.
what's up with that semi-renovated Tropicana field.
Avoid a heroin needle.
I've got here from May 2nd, pointy bottom with a post of Stephen A. Smith with his eyes a little annoyed there. Vanessa Bryant hearing Kobe's old
Oh
phone
yeah, yes.
vibrate after Jason Tatum starts crying about choking a 3-1 lead. Oh my God.
The internet is ruthless, and that's the thing. There's some humor that kind of came from it. Or when Bam obviously broke the 83, and people were trying to talk about ethical, and we know the commentary that came from it. It's just good, and I guess the moral of the story is that when it comes to the social media aspect, we love how crazy people are, and just follow us. Just
Mhm.
follow us. We're there with you in spirit. We read your ish.
Yeah, it's funny. It's fun. We're at 9:36, Charles. We haven't talked about non-sponsors, so I think we could talk about that. We've been enjoying over the
Sure.
last couple weeks now. People, places, things, concepts, what have you. Did I start last week? I think I did, but
I can start this
yeah,
week.
go ahead.
So, as you know, life is about progress and change and bettering yourself. And then when you work remotely like I do, you have a great tendency of just like not eating a lot, which I miss my old office because I would harass my advocates for the candies and stuff that they have in their jars. Like, you want me to help your client? Give me like a Reese's peanut butter buff, stuff like that. But just wet my beak a little. I felt like the Godfather from The Godfather 2, not the Vito Corleone, but Don Chi. Was it Chi Chi? No, it was not. I'm getting that confused. The first one, but whoever, the one that gets like gutted a little bit.
Hmm.
But then it's like, all right, you have to go for the healthy eating, and it's just so expensive right now. It's gonna be expensive. Your
Yeah.
politicians don't care about you, regardless of the sides are, because they're gonna make more money than you guys do. And so, but the price of meat, the price of chicken, the price of sides, the prices of everything, and the price of going out, like I've even changed the world. Like I'm not even going out and drinking that hard unless you got a good happy hour kind of thing. Always drink responsibly, get an Uber, Lyft, whatever, kids. You know me, I'm always gonna advocate for the
Oh yeah.
healthiness of it. It's just more or less like, what do you mean? I mentioned about Bandolero's last show. We're like, what do you mean? Like you're giving me $6 Saturday margaritas? You're beautiful. I'll kiss my bartender on the lips. I'm like, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. He's gonna be like high fiving me on that stuff. It's what do you do on the day to day? So I had to flirt with the idea for a bit, but I knew I was gonna get into it as I started the job. And it was something that we did in the big breaks. I gotta give a shout out to it, where I've been doing ideal nutrition, mostly dinners, for like 8.49 a pop, which is relatively well. That's what I had for dinner coming into it. Got my meal curated of however I want to go from there. And I had like their paleo grilled chicken. Today I had their cilantro chicken, stuff like that. It's an easier way to avoid fast food. And mind you, I do get my fast food, but you guys all have to remember, like we're a little bit older. Sure, that's not what holds me back. It's just I rain a lot on my body. And, I'm like, okay, I've been banged up a little bit, so I took some time off, but I also like to experiment with new developments. So now we're going to go for like some muscle. stronger muscle definition that comes into it because I weight lift, I power lift, I do whatever. But it's I have like a weird frame. I'm like 162 pounds, but we're healthy, right? So, but I'm like, you gotta have your diet. You can never beat a bad diet. And my thing is like, I just don't want to, even though I can't. I'm not dumb. I did it before. I don't want to do it
Mm.
because it's expensive. You gotta eat everything. Let's go from there.
Time
And the way they
consuming. I mean,
cured,
I like to do it, but I haven't done that in a while either. So I
yeah,
should do that
and especially since I always
maybe
kind
when I
of
come
like
home.
set up to where I'm, yeah, where you eat like the raccoon. That's a joke that we make. But I always have there's always stuff that I'm doing as well. And you're getting healthy. It's like a glorified TV dinner, but it's still a good TV dinner. But 8.49, it tastes good. You always kind of probably need hot sauce for a lot of stuff if it doesn't have it, but that's up to y'all to kind of do it. My whole thing non-sponsoring is that I think it's relatively working because it had in between that and another one that my buddy had got into, and he was bigger and he needed to lose that weight. Me, I'm just looking to get more calories in my body because that's the thing. My workouts are long, right? So like I'll weight lift for an hour, then I'll do cardio for 30 to 40 to 50 minutes and I'm burning everything. I'm like, okay, whatever I'm trying to do definition wise and bodybuilding wise, not power bodybuilding, but just Charles wise, it's not working because of the fact that I'm not eating them. So we've been doing it. I'm getting the calories in, keeping it consistent. Went once a week on it. Last week I was off of it because sometimes that happens, right? But you can either have it shipped or you can have it picked up. Going from there if you're close to locations. I am close, or I can have it shipped. But I'm close because I'm gonna save $1. And then I'm incorporating that with my the little salads I buy at like Publix or Aldi's. You know what I'm talking about. So it's like, okay, you get it done. But it doesn't taste bad. It tastes pretty good. You might need some hot sauce. It's recommendable. And if you are just trying to get into, hey, I don't have time to cook or I want something else to go with, what do I do? I would recommend it if it's local to you, or maybe whatever is close enough to it. I guess is the thing because not everybody's gonna have it to them. But I like it a lot. I think the food tastes good. It probably tastes better than that nasty $45, fucking three meal that you're getting from wherever that you're paying extra for. That's unnecessary. So ideal nutrition, it's good for you. It's healthy. I like it. Promo code healthy TV dinner.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at
I
it.
showed you the picture of the foods.
Yeah, and I'm scrolling through it right now. You can see it on the screen here as well. They have
If you're a person who's going on macros and micros, like very consistent and specific on a diet, like it's gonna fit that range. You just have to know what your bits are.
they got a nice variety here. Everything looks good. That's
They
for
change
sure.
stuff weekly too, and they have online onlys, and then they'll have stuff that's different as well.
Yeah, they got they got little muffins and pancakes and hash browns, quiche right there, and some comfort craving. So they got a little bit of everything here, and obviously down here in Florida, they're pretty much in every county here for the most part here. So, but I'm sure there's plenty of these in like just large cities now, all over the country. Obviously, a lot of people have heard of Factor, who has previously
That's the other one.
sponsored us in the past. So that's always an option there too. All right. So my non-sponsor, I'm just gonna pick something. I was just kind of looking around my desk because I didn't really
You pulled
think.
an Andrew.
Yeah, I did pull an Andrew there. But at the same time, this is something that it's kind of one of my favorite things that I've bought over the course of the last few months. So let's just go with this. So Charles, you've seen the photos of my home office now. I've got it to the point where I really like my setup right now. I genuinely like it. I removed the PS3. It's no longer on the desk. I'm just not gonna. I'm just not. It's been retired. It's retired now. On this desk here, it's a very large desk. Some cabinets here, but pretty much all the tools and everything that I need, from batteries to repair to cables, everything here. My gaming PC that's running and powering this show, and that I've been using for productivity as well for work. It's a nice, powerful PC, so nothing crashes except the program to this show.
Yeah, right. Go
Uh,
figure.
yeah, I've got all my knickknacks up here, bobbleheads and amiibos. I bought some more amiibos for myself that I found on Goodwill because I'm starting
Oh,
to kind of
which
get the.
which ones did you get?
I got the Inkling amiibo from Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, the one I bought.
Oh, I didn't know you got that one. I
I
got
have one of them.
Yeah, I got a King DDD as well. It just came in like a pack in Goodwill. I'm just like, oh, I want an Inkling one because I played probably 1,000 hours of Splatoon. I should have an Inkling amiibo, right?
That's fair, yes.
And it came with like an Animal Crossing amiibo that I didn't care about, but whatever, it comes with it, so I'll just have it there. I just want all my favorite characters here. So if I see it on Goodwill, I'm most likely just gonna snipe it and try and get it, because I've got 3 Samuses here. I definitely would like to get all the Metroid ones out there, but I'm not ready to pay a premium just to get some of the old ones. But in any case, got that, my bobbleheads. I got some books that I'll never read because they're my sister's. I got a giant Sonic the Hedgehog plush in the corner there that scares me when I open the door. Got all my Panthers and Marlins and knickknacks as well. Some rats, and got my chair that also acts as a futon as well. Got all my hats. But Charles, that means I have to maintain this facility here in a nice tip-top shape, and it has to be clean, because that's the death knell for a lot of PCs. Especially, people don't realize how much dust gets collected, and you can wipe the fans, but just dust is always going to be a thing, right? And I have all these little knickknacks, all these little tiny figurines and baseballs, and there's just nooks and crannies and corners. So I decided, from a suggestion from a YouTuber that I follow immensely, that got me into my whole PC building and repairing phase, was Salem Techsperts. It is the Fanttik Bio Pro Max.
All right,
there we go.
Say that 5 times fast.
So B10. Oh, but what I got Pro Max here. So I'm showing it on the screen. It's for the audio listeners here. It is a small little air duster here, because I was spending money on those air canisters, Charles, to kind of clean my keyboard and things like that. But I mean, use it maybe 5 or 6 times and then it's empty. And I was just tired of that. And they had like the big old giant ones, but I hear those things overheat and it's just kind of unwieldy. But this little guy, $80 on special right now, so it's 20% off right now, and I got it essentially for that price. But I think it's well worth it. It's this little duster here. It comes with different little nozzles there for depending on the job that you want to do with regards to dusting. You turn it on. It's rechargeable with a USB-C cable, and it is powerful. Okay, I can shoot this 10 feet across the room and you'll feel a gust. Okay, and it has a little flashlight as well, so you can kind of see the dark corners there. I can take out my PC and kind of just blow it out back as well. So it really is a powerful little thing. I've just been dusting things all over the place. So it helps me, once again, maintain the cleanliness of this place. Of course, yes, you do have to wipe some things down because it's not 1,000% going to get everything, but it gets most of it, that's for sure. And it's been one of my little favorite things. My mom has even used it, so if she's going to use it, then I would, and then that's a huge recommendation right there, because she was a house cleaner for 25 years, so I think she is an expert with regards to that. And I don't know, this is my favorite little thing. Kind of shoot it and just kind of clears up the whole thing. My desk is just really clean right now. I really love it right now, Charles. And I've got a Razer keyboard as well, and a new Razer mouse. I've got all the colors going on right now, Charles, because I've got the entire RGB setup. This is really the studio I've wanted for a long time, and now I have it. Got a new chair as well. A few things, actually. So I got a new game.
We all got the big up here.
Oh, yeah. I've wanted to get a new chair for a while because the other one was just was already falling apart in a sense. But I got this new chair here. It's black and white. Nothing too fancy. It's not a gaming chair, because since then I've gone on to read that a lot of gaming chairs are just shit. And no better way to say it. And I decided to get something that was trustworthy, that was ergonomic. We're getting old, and it's just the name of the game there. But this chair is fantastic too. Everything's been upgraded. Everything has been upgraded now. I've got my lighting set up. I've thought about being on camera for this show. Actually, I've been testing the waters when it comes to my technology setup for that. Maybe that's why this thing's crashing on me. Or I've also thought about doing the VTuber thing. I don't know if you've seen that, Charles.
Tell me about it.
You saw the little gimmicky thing that they did for Star Fox, where you can change your avatar to just be
yes.
Fox. It's people that do that, where they are a persona or a fursona, and they are on camera like that, and it's just a computer-generated thing, a model that they made for themselves, and I'm like, oh, I could be a guy in a cheap Sonic costume model. I'm sure somebody's got that somewhere. So I've been trying to look into that technology and just kind of make this a little more fun, especially because we've seen a bit of an uptick in our viewership thanks to me using AI to post some of our nice little shorts. You know,
about the people who hate AI
yeah.
that want to burn us on the stake.
Yeah. So over the last week and a half or so, we've got like 40,000 views, and so I'm finally I finally broke down the serial draft where we talked about that episode there. So we'll have a couple clips from that too. So
that is a classic episode for anybody who wants to listen to stuff from 5 years ago.
Yeah, and that's actually beautiful because I have listened to some conversations. I was like, oh, that was actually a pretty fun conversation. Andrew was a lot more lively too back then too. So I don't know, just a lot. Yeah, different. Actually, he had a different gait to him.
We're different people.
Yeah. Oh, you were way different.
Different outlook.
I listened to you back then. You were much different back then. You were finding your voice actually, and I was too.
I calmed down, and I think
I don't know. No, you actually calmed up. Calm down. That's you were way more calm before when you started than anything else.
Oh, well, that's because I became like Dennis, because as the personality showed is one thing, but then like there's certain things that happened throughout the years that I became unhinged a little bit. And if you want the case in point, the AJ Brown trade, which will always be, the all-timer of like me losing my ish.
That short I didn't have. That was already posted. I posted out years ago. So that was a great. Yeah, that was the moment.
I was diabolical.
That was the moment.
That was the start. And what people need to realize is that what is tough for the three of us is that in the profession that we are and that we have, we don't know the limit that we can be. Like, even though in today's day and age, I see plenty of influencers who are lawyers, just basically giving wrong legal advice. I'm just saying that right now on everything just for engagement. Yeah. I'm just saying it. Like, you got to. And I always liked what we did. I remember when we talked about Andrew, we'd be like, oh, we could be big about this. And I was just like, this is just my hobby from going away from some heinous stuff at law and litigation. And now it's changed. I couldn't do in-person video stuff because I always would look at the camera and be like, because I'm doing Teams meetings all the time. Yeah, so I'm like, damn, I look good. Or I would just be like, my hair is out of place. And then the OCD will come out. But the older you get, kids, the more your inhibitions just disappear, especially when you're talking to a vacuum. And I will commend any of the social media people who are having basically conversations with an invisible wall and then like a text chat. But I could see the changes. I'll listen to the stuff too, because I think I've said this before where when we used to do the weekly show, I would hear myself speak so I can attack my cadence. Because the thing that I always get, even now, my profession, is I talk fast. I'm like, I can't stop myself from being animated and passionate, because the worst thing you can ever be in life is disinterested in something, truthfully. But it's good progress. And, we've also just taken the show to a different degree. It's still a sports show. We'll end it on a sports segment. I have a sport theory question that will take more of 10 minutes for you. But follow us on whatever social media that Francisco has us on, because that's the one thing that I think we want to take away from. Because if you kept into it being a sports show, there's no viability, because the take that we had in circa March of 2022 might not be viable. And then we're just talking about being the old timers. That's why I will always, the actual groundwork is the part of the interruption with Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon, because the way they do it on structure is they have something of substance, they kind of continue it, and they'll go left field sometimes. And then sometimes they'll just make it solely about the sports. And then they do the weird stuff. One of the weird things I always thought that was great was they'll do the, happy anniversary, happy birthday to whatever legend. They'll talk about it. And, it's good groundwork, as opposed to having to see, Mad Dog, who I can't stand. I can't stand Mad Dog.
Yeah, I know.
Or Stephen A. Smith or anything like that. Like, we need those kind of people in there to be passionate about it. And what's great is there's going to be more people that I end up despising on different levels, whether it be a gaming personality or a sport personality or a entertainment personality that makes me be like, I could do that job better. Because isn't that not the nature of sports, Francisco? Where you get behind something and you see another person, you go, you know what? Fuck that guy. 4, 5 maybe. And then it just galvanizes you to do better, because that's how we get inspired and how we.
Yeah. All right. So we're at 9:55 here in our time. So
I got the 5-minute sport question.
Let's do it.
It's going to be baseball related, because all our teams kind of suck right now are going to draft. But
And
all things
all my
considered,
hockey beefs are done now. The Minnesota Wild
yeah,
lost, so the Edmonton Oilers fired their head coach, and the Tampa Bay Lightning were eliminated. So I'm okay. I don't hate the Vegas Golden Knights like a lot of people do.
I would hate the fact for Bruce Cassidy to get fired and that team wins, right? Because
Yeah, but
it creates a cycle of
I know,
coach
but
firings.
I also like John Tortorella, so I love Torts in this
Yeah.
household. So he's just one of those guys. But in any case, so that's the hockey talk. I haven't really been following the NBA Finals or NBA playoffs really for the most part. I just know
You've had 3 sweeps.
New York is through, and so is freaking
OKC.
OKC. So New York would be annoying. So I'm hoping the Pistons or the Cavs can do something. I'm hoping the Cavs because our boy Jared Allen, is there, and he's one of
And I
us.
like Donovan Mitchell.
That's true as well, right? And fine, James Harden can get one finally, right? So that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's gotta mean something, right?
Yeah. So there's that, and then I honestly don't give a shit about football right now.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, the Dolphins want to be the Packers, fine. Let's call me when that happens. There you go.
Yeah. So I will leave it to the stemming baseball question for you, if you're ready for it.
Yep.
Are we ready for it? I'm ready for it.
Let's do it.
You're gonna go see the Marlins. You're gonna go see the Rays, right? And I need you to beat the Rays because even though Max Fried is just dying and dead and the elbows out and all that fun jazz, and that's baseball. This is the reason why you can only invest so much time because it's a long season. You're
Skubal's
still in
gone.
the Peter Bennick's.
Marlins number 2
out,
prospect was called up. He had one start. He did kind of, and then he has a UCL sprain. So that's probably going to be Tom and John.
Yeah.
That's great.
But so the small 5-minute gig, because the NL East, we don't have to talk about the AL East. It's as expected of the Rays and the Yankees in there, and I'm not too concerned for the Yanks itself, even though I know is trash. But I look at the NL East, and what is up is down, what's down is up. The Mets are terrible, fantastic. Phillies kind of getting there because Manley's Manley, and he's showing his worth a bit because they're closer to 500 than they were last month. But when everybody gets a participation trophy in the wild card, how are we feeling about the Marlins? You're leading into it. Like the Rays are to a degree a beatable team outside from Shane McCallum as a pitcher. But how are you feeling looking at everything in your second year with whatever his name is? Because you guys keep firing dudes. It escapes my name.
Yeah, Clayton McCullough. I don't see him as the next manager that will take the Marlins to the playoffs. I just don't. I think he's just one of those guys that they know works well with young players, but he won't be the guy that leads them to the playoffs. I think he's just going to be managing and their development right now with what they've got. And then, if they sneak in with a wild card, then fine, congratulations. But he won't be the man that will lead us to anything meaningful besides that, if that's the case. The NL East, Atlanta's just running away with it. And it's so early that they've done that. They're injured, and yet they still keep going. They lost Ronald Acuna Jr. for maybe like a month or so. They're still going to keep going. The Mets are terrible, and their team is not great. Their team is just not well constructed at all. They kind of. I've talked to my boss, who's a huge Mets fan, and he feels like the soul of the team has been gone. He wants to trade Juan Soto. He wants him off the team because he thinks that he just ruined the vibes completely.
Yeah, he's not a vibes player.
Yeah, and I honestly see it. I do see it because what more does Juan Soto need to accomplish? He got his $700 million. He already has a World Series ring. He already had his postseason moment where, with the Yanks, which got him that contract, right? So what more does he need to try? Yeah, he could probably stat pad his way into a Hall of Fame career, and that'd be it. Does he have to try for the New York Mets? Not really anymore.
The only thing that goes for Soto is that nowhere on the table, he's been in the big leagues for about 7 years.
Yeah.
No one's ever called him the best player in the league. And that's the only thing you kind of have to chase. He's not a guy who's won an MVP, right? Yeah. And he was in a bunch of different teams to get you there. When he got called up from Washington, it was like, a couple weeks before they had the World Series run that came into it. And he was the young 19-year-old hotshot.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple months before coming into it, but he was always the potential man. It really felt like that. He had the potential to be the best player out there. And my feelings on Shohei aside, because I am petty with him, at least Shohei can, in my mind, justify the money because you're talking about the revenue that you're bringing in from the fandom. Juan, even with Judge on your team, you were the second best player when you had prime opportunity to be the best player. You say that to the World Series when you go.
He hasn't,
and even on the Mets, it's
Yeah, he didn't even like Alex Rodriguez, if you're gonna if you want to compare a comparable type of player, I would say like Alex Rodriguez wanted to be the best player in baseball, right? It's because that he's just this. What was it? Oh yeah, our good friend Jeremy Taché called him a sociopath or a psychopath. One of those two.
Yeah, it's a sociopath.
So
hey,
that
you should put that sociopath in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So
him and Bonds.
So Juan Soto is, I don't know, he just ruined the vibes. They obviously let go of Pete Alonso, and well, like it's not like the Orioles are doing much with that either. But in any case, yeah, the Mets are that. The Washington Nationals are just. They're in that same area as the Marlins. I don't see the Marlins because the Nationals are a little deeper into their rebuild, and yet they're still kind of okay-ish. Not great, not terrible, and like the White Sox or teams of the
better
Rockies
than
like
where
that.
they had left Dave Martinez at, who was the sacrificial lamb, because that's baseball.
Yeah,
and he'll get another chance.
He got his ring, so that's fine.
Yeah,
but that Nationals team is all right. Right, I think they're comparable to the Marlins, and that's what I see with the Marlins. I don't see them definitely not challenging the Braves because gone head-to-head against them early on in the season, and I think we squandered the game just because of our manager, which is one of the reasons I think he's just not going to be cut out. He comes from the Dave Roberts managerial tree, okay? And that right there already is not great for my confidence here because as much as he's got these World Series rings, a toddler could manage that Dodgers team to a World Series victory, okay? So it's to a point where, can you compare Dave Roberts to Joe Torre in that sort of sense? I don't think you would. I don't know if anybody has.
Joe Torre went against a lot of game-changing managers in the World Series.
Yeah, Joe Torre faced off against Bobby Cox twice. He just died. Joe Torre went up against in '98 Bruce Bochy. He went up against Bruce Bochy.
One of the Padres.
He went up against Bob Brenly with
Bobby
the Diamondbacks. So that one's kind of like the, but even then that Diamondbacks team was stacked. They were they bought themselves into that World Series as well too. Was it
Bobby in the Mets? Valentine?
Yeah, Bobby Valentine with the Mets, who he just on pure vibes was leading them. He lost Jack McKeon in the Marlins. But 2002, who'd they lose to? The Angels in like the ALCS? I forgot who they lost to in that season.
Yeah, the Angels were kind of like the
that was the team of destiny
the team of destiny.
Yeah,
like they
were,
with Mike Sosa was.
Yeah, Mike Sosa, who's a good manager, hasn't been seen anywhere for a long time. So I don't know. Well, he's out there in limbo.
And then, Sosa just does. Sosa was just done. Everything he's doing, I think he's on Team USA for baseball. International.
2004 lost to Tito. So
like there was legitimate guys out there.
Yeah, like Dave Roberts. I mean, let's see, who'd he lose to? AJ Hinch, but that was the Astros and the right.
Yeah.
Let's see, he lost to 28 Alex Cora as well.
And who did he beat? He beat Dusty, right?
He beat Kevin Cash in the World Series in 2020, but Kevin Cash also overmanaged that one. He overmanaged that World Series with Blake Snell. I should have let him go. That was their mistake. They should have won. They should have at least taken that to Game 7, but they didn't. And then
beating Aaron Boone's not smart, who puts Nestor Cortez, who hasn't thrown the damn ball,
they lost
for like a month and a half in live game as your reliever. Just saying.
They lost to the Padres in a series in 2022. They lost to the Diamondbacks in a series in 2023. So I don't know. Dave Roberts just doesn't really do it for me either. And he doesn't do it for me with regards to his managerial tree, which is where McCullough comes from. I think there's some overmanaging that comes with that. So that's my opinion on the NL East, really. The Phillies, okay, Don Mattingly, that's fine. He's a good man.
Let's see if he cares.
He managed some pretty good Dodgers teams before they went on this run too. So let's not forget that. Obviously, he comes from the Joe Torre managerial tree as well. So, and remember, Joe Torre win anything until he got to the Yanks. So there's always a possibility that Mattingly could take this Phillies team, which is not that far removed from their World Series run. Maybe a piece or two, and that could be a dangerous wildcard team. And Schwarber's still mashing.
My commentary, and Harper's still good. My commentary with Mattingly is this, because the worst thing about like the Blue Jays losing was the people saying poor Don. He knew what he was kind of getting into in Miami, and he wanted to change of pace, and he knew it was like, all right. Like, I think there was a part of him within those first two seasons that wanted to incentivize winning. And then what happened was he got he got snake bitten by what the Marlins traits was of, hey, you made the postseason, thumbs up, buddy,
Yeah.
gold star, and that's it. There's no killer instinct by your owner.
Yeah, I'm.
Anytime you kind of get close to it, and then he was like, all right, he saw the game, and he just said, I'm gonna chill.
Yeah, I mean Don Mattingly also. I remember Joe Torre retired, and he was handed that Dodgers team that he had there, and that Dodgers
Yeah.
team was not like the one we have now, but it was
It's still exciting
it
enough.
was like
exciting enough.
a Yankees light where they had money and they would spend, and they had some good pieces, and he led that team to a few playoff runs. But he went to Miami, and I think he was trying to be more well-rounded when it came to that. Like, hey, Joe Torre did it with like stars and players like that. Let me see if I can actually learn to work with some young guys and develop some guys, and just he went through like basically nearly a decade of that, really, with
Yeah.
Miami. So I'm hoping he does well. Once again, it'd be annoying if the Phillies won anything because they're just in our division. But even then, I'd hate it less than if the Braves did it too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I
that's
can
it, at
live
least
with
for me.
that in comparison when people are like, oh, because he was one of the bench coaches or
Mhm.
hitting coaches for the Blue Jays. I'm like, oh, it's a damn shame that he can't get there. And me, my whole thing is like, even if it's a former legend like Mattingly, you're on my division enemy, and my feeling on any. I don't ever pick any of my body in my division, but my team to go and get it. I don't do sentimental stories. Hell, I don't even go for anybody in the AL. The only time that came to fruition was with the Royals, because that was special because they had been below mediocrity for the longest time. And so if he's there, because the problem is I kind of see the change already because we enjoy baseball, and I like baseball's that sport that's like, okay, I have my team, but then I'll see a couple stars because I want to trade for those stars as well. It is interesting to see that they could be like 13 and something, and then now he's getting closer, closer. And the first April's April, right? May is when you have to kind of like at least be set in stone for a couple of things. Because you rather have a good first half and then stumble a little bit on the second half of the season, but hold out, as
Mm.
opposed to having a very like bad first half and then try to get hard going and you do well in the second half, and then you become like the Diamondbacks, who has been like the last 3 years they've had that, where you peter out right before the season ends and you lose that one important game, or you find magic, make it all the way to the World Series, and the most forgettable World Series. And we've had a lot of them the last couple of years when they went against Texas, and that's just like game over because you're not roster constructed. The thing is, the Phillies are constructed as a decent roster. I also just go for the fact that it feels like it's Boone's kind of final year. So I'm just looking at like whatever
Mm.
managerial
Mm.
advantages I have to go from there, because I want to skip, and Skip obviously went to
Texas,
Texas,
yeah.
but like I'll take Clay and the idea of it, because I do also believe that your team is just deficient in talent. In baseball, you do need some talents in between, because the idea of having the perfect farm system that you just home grow, it works once a year, and the prime example of that is the Orioles,
Mm.
because for
Oh yeah.
last couple of years, Roshman, Gunner, all the other white guys that were in the prospects, Team White over there, and it's gotten to where they realize, and I still think firing Brendan Hyde, even though I don't want, was a bad move because he was instilling a
Mm.
culture. And then it comes down to like, you can have what these presumed talents are. The thing is, with baseball, you need studs. You need studs, man.
All right.
And it just ain't there. So that's why I look at Clay. I'm like, okay, but is he that credentials where if I put some real people in there, is he going to hold, or is it going to be like his namesake and that they're going to break like pieces of clay? Because I'm always looking. But what
Uh,
I've been hoping for Boone to get fired for 4 years longer, but like really pushing
I
it.
mean, I think if the Yanks were to replace Boone, you have Charlie Thompson, who just got fired by the Phillies, and he comes from. Was he with Joe Girardi?
He was with Girardi, and Girardi got fired and came on. But I think
Yeah,
that was more because of the fact
but
that
he was with
Joe
Torre
just
as
couldn't.
well, right? Thompson was with Torre
Yeah,
before, and so was Joe
I don't
Girardi.
know if I want, but the thing is, like, I don't know if I want the Thompson tree. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a very small explanation why, is because they were just pieces in place that anybody but Joe Girardi could win with.
Mm,
Nothing substantially changed. It's just because Joe was antiquated a little bit.
true, and
And the
that was the
antiquity is
last
like he
gasp of
doesn't let
that.
players play.
That was the last gasp of that Yankees run.
Yeah.
So, and then Joe Girardi was there for he was the 2017 squad, right? For the Yanks.
No,
Oh
he,
no,
he
he
was
was
cat in 2016, and they got him 2017.
okay.
And
All
that's
right.
when because Boone's been our dude for like 8, 9 years now.
I'll just look it up real quick. Aaron Boone. Your boy. Let's see. Aaron Boone, Yankees manager since 2018. No, so yeah, Joe Girardi was that baby Yanks, the baby
leading in 2018.
He was the baby Bombers of 2017 when they lost. Yeah, so
the older you get, the longer the years kind of thresh out a little bit. And I think 2017 was Judge's starting year, and then that's when it all came to.
All right, that's some nice baseball talk there. All right, so I think that's about it, Charles.
That's it for me.
See you guys in a couple weeks. It'll be end of May at that point. So yeah, we'll probably, hopefully I'll be done with Death Stranding by that point.
We hope.
I don't know. I'm 65 hours in, so I don't know. Bye, everybody.
Take care.